Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing. LiveWire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't wanna miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is LiveWire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
Welcome. We have a special show for you today. Welcome to LiveWire Sports Media and the Adrienne Ross Show in conjunction together. This is a special presentation, and I can say now, my good friend and a good confidant, Miss Adrienne Ross. Introduce yourself, ma'am.
Yes, I'm so glad to be here, Martin. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yes, Adrienne Ross from the Adrienne Ross Show, and also the new Adrienne Ross Squared on YouTube. And I'm just so glad to be here and wondering where we're gonna go tonight in our conversation.
Well, as we've been preparing for this, we could talk a little bit detail about, the hot topic of the week, Caitlyn Clark and the controversial take over her Time magazine. And plus, I want to pick your brain a little bit about, I don't know if you've seen the comments by Temi Fagbenle, her ex-teammate, what she had to say. So I would like to start that off with you, with your thoughts of it and everything like that.
Okay, well, there were the comments that she was quoted as saying in the Time article, which I thought were rather, they were troubling to me. And then we had the Twitter comments as well. And that was a lot. Like, she piled on. One thing I will say, I'm going to say this first of all. The thing that I did notice on X is that she started out in defense of her former teammate, meaning Caitlyn. And she said right away, listen, CC doesn't have to, she just was defending her, because of all the noise out there, some of it very harsh toward Caitlyn. And so she wanted to point out that, Caitlyn doesn't have to apologize. She's not apologizing for being white, etc. However she phrased it, I don't know if you have it to pull up. I can pull it up if you want me to, but
I have it in my in the slide right here. I could put it up on the screen. It might go block us out, but if people wanted to see it, then I could show it real quick. Her first comment.
But I want to be on record as saying that there were several of them. So I'm not in agreement with the mindset, the mentality, not in the year 2024. So to me, it sounds like somebody who has come to see everything through the lens of color.
Yeah.
And we find a lot of people who are trapped in that place. And I would have never expected it from Temi, but I really don't know because I don't know her. So, it kind of annoyed me, to be honest with you. But I do appreciate that she was willing to speak up for her teammate, even though what she said thereafter was a little bit like, are you kidding me?
I agree with you. I think I had the one part that you probably was talking about right here. This part right here, she said, I think most people know this is just a selected group trying to twist things. The United States race issue is so ingrained that I believe a majority of them don't even think they are twisting anything. I had to move that comment real quick because I can't see. The immediate response to anyone talking about how race affects anything is in denial. So, but like you said, I appreciate her coming to the defense of Caitlyn, but I think to me, it should have stayed that part right there, just left it right there and not elaborate more about race and everything that has happened hundreds of thousands of years ago. So that's the part I just wish she just stayed. But I know she was coming from a good place because she's always been CC's ride or die throughout the season, and having her back. So that was,
I think she had her back. I don't know if she's coming from a good place or not. I think she's coming from a good place in terms of her defense of Caitlyn.
yeah.
Beyond that, she's coming from her own racial, sounds to me, victimhood and racial idolatry. I'm just going to call it what it is. I know people, we love Temi, right? We didn't want Temi to leave and all that. And so, but as far as I'm concerned, yeah, go ahead and defend your teammate, but save all the other, and even in the article, her racist fans, and she said about Caitlyn Clark, and then in this whole case, it's this whole long thing about race in America and everybody in denial. And my thought is that, we already know about the history, but this is 2024, I think she might be in denial as to how far we have come.
Yeah.
And yet there are people who will continue to push that. And then other people will feed into it. Now, I'm all about showing, extending grace and all that, but Temi is 32 years old. And so at this point, please.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just where I am about it.
Yeah. I agree with you, because I think the part of she's coming from a place regarding CC is really profound, but you gotta look, we still, we might have things that we still continue to work on, but we have came a long way from what it was, and you can't. My thing is, I never been the type of person to live in the past. I'm always, I don't forget the past, but I don't live in the past. I always look moving forward and try to see how things can be better going forward and into the future. And that's what I feel like a lot of us continue to get lost in at that point.
Absolutely. Again, there are issues. There are racist people out there. I absolutely, but not every person you encounter behind every tree and under every rock is racist. But there's a faction of our society who benefits from continuing the division. They pretend that they want to get over it. They pretend that they're fighting against it, but in reality, they benefit from it. And so they keep it going. And so people feed in on that, and they continue to run with the narrative and the victimhood and the whole thing. And so then when you've got real issues of race that pop up, people don't want to hear you anymore, because you've been saying every single thing was a race issue and the country is so horrible and so bad. Meanwhile, they continue to not leave. So, and then we've got, I don't want to get all off, but then you got people who are doing everything to get in. So is it really that bad? I can't name me a country that's better than the United States of America. I'll wait. So
I agree with that. So like, a lot of people in the comment section is, comment, and a lot of them have a lot of great points. And me personally, I told you this last night, that, and the thing that we're going to touch on right now is that, will this affect her brand? Will this affect her going, her ticket sales, people going to the games, people buying her merchandise? Will this affect her in any way?
And when you say this, will this affect her? What do you mean?
Well, I meant this. Well, I would say the backlash that she's getting right now. You know what I'm saying? The backlash. Will this affect her brand? And it's a question you posed to me last night, so I'm gonna pose that question back to you today.
Yeah. I think that it will. I think she'll lose some, but I think she'll gain some. So. It's sort of like when people get mad because on your channel because you said something that they didn't agree with, and so they might say I'm unsubscribing, and then they leave, and then other people who are more reasonable perhaps will come, right? And so, but with Caitlyn, I think that there are some people who are done. You know, obviously, I'm not. Okay, you see right here. I don't like where it sounds like she wants to go in terms of the whole conversation and, you know, singling out Black people. And I'm not into that. The whole white privilege thing, I don't like it. Right. But I didn't. I came to Caitlyn's. I came to the back to the WNBA, or watched her in college because of her basketball game and the way she carried herself. Right. As long as I don't have to hear woke stuff every time she comes to the microphone, I think I'm okay. Right.
Yeah.
But I also think that there are people who really feel strongly about what she said, and I understand that, and that's a lot to cover at one time. But there are people who feel really, really strongly. They feel like she threw her fans under the bus. They feel like she threw Christine Brennan under the bus. There's some of us who have defended her against a lot of the abuse she took, and she basically turned around and said, that really annoyed me. And so people feel really strongly about that, and there are some of them who will exit and not return. I believe that. But I also believe that there are lots of people who are like, I'm here for the basketball, or they say they're out and they'll return. Do I think it hurt somewhat? I do. Will it tank her? I don't think so, but who knows where she's taking it. So
Yeah. I feel like the article probably, to me, I feel like it was just something just to, she waited all season to talk about, because she never really got a chance to, because everybody was pressuring her to talk about it in season. And now that since the season over, she got this downtime and she's doing all of these speaking points or whatever the case might be. And that was probably the opportune time that came to her. And she's like, okay, let me clear the air a little bit. And maybe she looked back at this afterwards and say, dang, I should have probably could have said it a different way, you know. And sometimes you speak before you spoken sometimes, you know, and she probably looking back now saying, dang, I wish I had said this a little bit better, but it's out there now. So I kind of feel like she probably wanted to talk about this in a season, but never had a chance, and just wanted to focus on basketball. Like she always said, every time somebody bring up something to her. So it was a thing like that. Um, you know my stance. I don't think her brand is gonna be affected. I think since the off season now, you know, it's probably gonna take a little bump, because there's nothing really going on much, you know. But once that season kick off, I think everything is gonna spike back up again, as it been, probably even better. So we just have to wait and see, you know.
we have to wait and see. I want to say this too. Time Magazine, like most media, has an agenda. I don't believe that Caitlyn Clark said, "Hey, I want to talk to you about white privilege. Hey, let me get on the record as saying this." I don't think she said that. They asked the question, and we'll never know, I guess, what those questions were. And of course, they framed the article in a certain way. But she did say what she said. But writers know how to frame things because they have an agenda. So the question probably entailed the phrase white privilege, right? The question probably said, there are people who think that you should own up to white privilege. What do you say? And so Caitlyn probably said, listen, first of all, let me say, okay, this is a baller. This is the basketball player in her. No. I might be trying to be magnanimous and all that, but I ain't gonna let y'all think that I don't think that I deserve where I'm at. Okay, so
exactly.
First of all, let me say I earned everything. And then she probably got to the part of the question where he asked about privilege. And then she went into, and as a white person, there is privilege. I disagree with her on that.
Yeah.
But she probably was, goaded into addressing it. And she addressed it. And I don't agree, but she's totally entitled to how she feels. My mindset is not more important than her mindset, so she said what she said.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said, you know, she's young. She's 22.
Mhm.
I think with years experience, you know, she's going to be able to navigate some of these tougher topics down the line. Um, you know, and I think that comes with maturity. We don't seen it with LeBron through his years. We don't see it with Jordan. We don't see it with Kobe. You know, and as they get older, they get more wiser, they get more smarter, they more savvy, they know how to shut the media down. She hasn't learned that part yet. And when she does learn that part, it's going to be hard for them to really pull things out of her. So, and you alluded to something again, you know, it's about giving her grace, you
Mhm.
know, and we always say time will tell
Yeah.
in all.
Yeah, because some people don't change. They just double down.
Yeah.
And depending on who they keep in their sphere of influence will
Hmm.
often determine where they go. You know, sometimes you need people who are going to challenge you and say, I'm waiting for someone to interview her and say, give us an example of the privilege you've had.
Mm.
That the other players, for example, the black players didn't have. What's
Hmm.
the, give us an example, because that should be a good question to ask, and that's a can of worms even there, because what are you going to say?
Yeah.
It's not both. You didn't work extra hard, and you got where you got because of white privilege. It wasn't both. So where was the white privilege? And again, it can be a can of worms. Are you going to say, well, I had two parents in the home? Oh, what are you trying to say? You know, so there are other players, black players who did too. Well, I had parents who really loved me. So what do you say? Like, what's your white privilege? One of the main reasons that you see more black people excelling in sports than, say, golf or tennis
Hmm.
is because just about everybody can afford a ball. Black folks can get out in the park, work on their game, go to the Boys and Girls Club, work on their game, and they have excelled. If you've needed to play tennis and stuff like that, it might. So, where is the privilege that she had as a basketball player
Hmm.
to get where she is? So, but that's a good question. And she'll ponder these things, perhaps think about these things, or she won't.
Yeah.
But, either way, it's her right.
Yeah, it's true. Now, I want to share a lighter side of it, you know, more so because it's so much controversy and so much impact. And like I was telling you last night, I had to do a three-part series of this on my channel because it was so much, and I
Yeah.
didn't, it's hard to impact the whole thing because it's in depth. It's something that you can't just really do a live stream or put a video out. You gotta, it's so much you had to break down.
Yeah.
And I want to break down, I want to talk about her, the the award itself,
Mhm. Yeah.
her winning the award,
Mhm.
what it means to for her to win the award, what it means for the WNBA to have somebody like Caitlin Clark, the first WNBA player to win that award. It says a lot about what it is.
Mhm.
Now, so when you first heard her win the award, what was your initial reaction to everything?
Oh my goodness. I'm like, athlete of the year? What? And I'm like, I go to the article. I'm starting to read the article. I said this on a live stream I did the evening of. And I'm starting to read the article, and he's talking about how many shots she hit in a row. And I'm just like, yeah, yeah. And I'm reading, and I'm so pumped up. And then honestly, I got to the part where I was like, what was that? What'd she say? Well, my initial reaction was absolutely go Caitlyn, because for real, who else? It's a no-brainer. Who else deserved it? And so as a fan of Caitlyn's, I was psyched. I was like, well deserved.
Yeah, like I said, I was asleep because I had to go to work that afternoon, and I woke up. I always check Twitter. I never checked Google, I never checked YouTube or nothing because everybody that I follow, I said they probably already out there. So I figured I said, let me go to I go to X. And right there, as soon as I pull it up, it was right there in my face. I said, oh my God. And then there was a link. I clicked on the link. I strolled through a little bit, read a little bit, read a little bit. I said, okay, well, this is going to be my homework assignment when I'm at work because
Yeah.
anytime I had downtime, I strolled through a lot and read. And I said, well, this will be something I could do to the next day. And when I did the first video, I specifically said everything I needed to say in the video, how it's going to be constructed and everything. And I was excited. I was like, wow, the first. And I say, she done hit a lot of firsts. She done broke a lot of records. And she continued to navigate and bring more light and eyes to the W. Even she not even playing right now, but off the court. And it just shows how gracious this young lady is and how everybody is looking to gravitate around her. It's like a big magnet. Everybody is just like so glued to her. Everybody wants a piece of Caitlyn Clark. And she's really, we don't see her in 2 pro-am golf tournaments. We don't see her at football games, basketball games. Matter of fact, after the interview with Time Magazine, she was at the Butler game, or she was over the weekend. She was at the Butler game, sitting there with Tyrese Halliburton. So she's making her rounds. But just to know that this was what I think is the top of every achievement that you could have to be the first woman in the WNBA to land this, that says a whole lot.
It absolutely does. And it speaks to the impact she's had, not just on the WNBA, but it's like the conversation that Cheryl Swoops had on Gil's Arena when she was trying to figure out what the criteria was for it. And they said, well, it's everything. She went from college, right? And racking up accolades in college and awards in college, right into being number 1 in the WNBA draft and rookie of the year, all the stuff, all the awards, the records. So it's everything. It's the appeal, like you said, the golf, it's the appeal beyond the sport, right? Beyond the sport, not just the sport of basketball, not just the WNBA, which is why Sheila Johnson's comments were so outrageous, but it's the whole package. And even Cheryl Swoops, I know people were getting on her for her response, but even she had to nod, because it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's not the WNBA athlete of the year. It's not, it's not the women's athlete. It's athlete of the year. Who else fits that category? Well, if you ask Sheila Johnson, it's the whole WNBA. But everybody just squeeze in here in this picture. All 144 of us.
Well, Sheila Johnson, she her background is not that clean either, so she might need to just simmer down a little bit.
She's drawing attention to some of those things, right?
Yeah. Because when you come out and say something, people start digging in your background, see who you really is and how you got the money that you got and how you really became who you are. So sometimes it's best just to like sit in the background and let it marinate. So you have anything that you want to discuss? I know you have something on your mind.
Listen, all that we've been talking about is I've been running my mouth about so many things, and it's just I look back and I did a live stream yesterday, and I'm like, what a week. The Caitlyn Clark effect. We look at it in terms of what she does on the court, the attention she not only brings to herself, but we know about a lot of other players because of the Caitlyn Clark effect. The viewership via television, the viewership in arenas, the revenue that's coming to cities when she's there. It's the Caitlyn Clark effect. But there's also what we've been hearing for the whole week. It's the Caitlyn Clark effect, meaning every move you make is absolutely, it's going to be scrutinized. It comes with the territory. And so you mentioned her being at the basketball game the other day. I think that speaks volumes, because while all these people are yelling and screaming at one another and mad and going on people's social medias and blowing up and all this stuff, Caitlyn Clark's out chilling.
Exactly.
I mean, so she says she has the ability to block out the noise. I'm sure she does, but no doubt some of it has to kind of get to her, right? I don't know if it beats her now, but it comes into your space. It gets annoying, those kinds of things. But at 22 years old, she's continuing to do what she does. And you got 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old people fighting over the fact that they thought that she thought a certain way. And apparently she doesn't, or at least she seemed to express that she doesn't. And y'all mad at the 22-year-old, and she's just taking care of business. I mean, so it says more about us if we were disappointed. And I felt like a gut punch with some of the things in the article. One thing you said, okay, you asked me if there's something I want to say. I found it interesting, and I wanted to ask, and we kind of talked a little bit about this before, about our coverage of Caitlyn Clark. For those of you who heard me say in my live stream yesterday that I was planning to have a panel, and I was going to post that video with the panel of people who have channels where they cover Caitlyn. We actually did get together and we talked, but we just decided to keep that talk in-house. And so we're doing this. We're doing this, but we're not putting that video out. But one of the things I did say when we talked in that group, Marty, is I feel like Caitlyn made it clear that for whatever reason, she didn't think Angel Reese jumped up and cheered when Kennedy Carter knocked her down. She didn't think what Dejanay did was on purpose. And she said that she found it annoying, really, that we would even think like that or cover things like that. And I heard someone, it was Rachel Demita, I think today, in her video, and she was just like, it was interesting because she's like, she's in my head. She's just like, I feel like I don't agree with her. She's like, because I know what I saw. I mean, I'm watching, but I got to hear what she's saying. And she's saying, I'm all right. I don't see it that way. So as a content creator sounds so, opportunistic, but but as a person who has, you cover this. This is a business for you too.
Yeah.
As a sports guy, do you alter the way do you take your cue from her and change the way you cover her when she's basically saying, yo, that's annoying?
No, I can't, because even though she's saying it and I'm visually seeing it there, I have to, when I do my content, I have to put that information out there, and I have to respect her, for saying, hey, she didn't see it or whatever the case may be, because maybe she don't want to ruffle feathers. Maybe she don't want to bring more attention than it already is. I think if she was year 7 in the league or whatever, that answer could have been a little bit different. We don't know. But as a creator, I won't say content creator, but I say as a creator, I will, my approach would never alter, just because she said that. I said, well, she didn't see it. Well, let me put this, is because I'll be putting out false narrative as well. And I don't want to do that. I have to put it out the way I see it, but I got to highlight that this is what she said, but this is what really happened. So we could have the distinguish where she's saying it, but we know factually this is what really transpired.
Okay. Well, maybe she thinks we think we know. Maybe she thinks, maybe she just thinks the best of everyone. Or again, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. There's certain things that seem so extremely obvious, but she says she wasn't targeted, and maybe she believes it. I think one of the things I'm hearing a lot over the past week are a lot of people saying what Caitlyn what Caitlyn really means. Like, oh, Caitlyn really didn't mean that. This is what she meant. Oh, Caitlyn didn't mean that. This is what she meant. And it's like, maybe Caitlyn meant what she said. I mean,
that's true.
I mean, she is a grown woman. Maybe it's self-preservation. Maybe it's the more they keep trying to say DeJournay is trying to hurt me, the more these people come after me. Maybe that is it. Maybe. But maybe she honestly says, this is competition. It is what it is. And no, I don't think that. I don't know. We put a lot of words in her mouth, though, I think.
Yeah, I think what it is I think Caitlyn is very smart. She's self-aware of what's going on, but I think she has to play the game to neutralize a lot of things. You gotta play both. It's like you playing both sides. You're trying to be in the middle. You say this to appease one side, then you say this to the other side, or you just kind of like teeter in the middle a little bit. I think she's self-aware of what's going on. I think she knows that what DeJournay did and what Kennedy Carter did and what Angel Reese did is real, but I don't think she's going to she didn't want to give the media any ammunition to go out there and run with it, say, oh, she did this, she said this, Caitlyn Clark said this, and we'll have just like now, we have 6 months worth of conversation of the same thing going down the line. So, and she tried to keep it more of the basketball state of mind a little bit more.
It's possible, or she meant what she said. I mean,
yeah.
Or she's not. She could be naive as well. But here's another thing too. Sometimes when it's been your dream, I feel certain that she thought her reception into the league would be different. It's sort of like, I always say this as a woman, you see this guy from afar, you're just like, oh my goodness, I'd love to go out with him and I'd love to do that. And then you get to know him and you're just like, ooh, this is not what I thought. This isn't the person it's like, it's better not to know, right? To keep the fantasy going. And so I think to a certain extent, when she came into the league, it was like, this is not the league. I didn't know it was like this, And so then you get in and sometimes you don't even see because you've got that pie in the sky mentality and you want to, there's something, my friends say this to me all the time, Adrienne, you always believe the best in people, and they're like, oh, this person did this because of that. And I'm like, well, maybe. And they're like, no, they did it, and I'm always like, well, I kind of, unless you give me a reason not to believe the best in you, I tend to. But one of the things Caitlyn did not address, or at least they didn't put it in the article, because we don't know all that was said that never made it to the article. But she never answered about, even if DeJournay did not purposely poke her in the eye, she got on social media afterwards with Caitlyn's teammate and joked about it. Yeah. And nothing was mentioned about that. So that's kind of odd to me.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, now that you bring that up, it's like, yeah, why they never said anything about Melissa Smith, joking about it, and they making fun on TikTok about the situation. So that was kind of odd. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you what it was odd, but it was not odd because Time Magazine had an agenda, and and notice that Time Magazine specifically put in there that Caitlyn was poked in the eye when DeJournay was trying to deflect the pass. So they're going to give you what they want you to believe is true. And then they state it as if it's fact, right? Mm-hmm. That's what they do when you have an agenda. So they're not going to point out what happened on social media if they knew, because that negates the narrative that there are people in the league who went after her. And that doesn't serve their purpose because they're on board with making her fans seem like a bunch of racists, right? Exactly. So if they even entertain the thought that DeJournay did something that she shouldn't have done and then acted a certain way afterwards, it would totally wreck the whole purpose that they're looking for in this article. Because believe you me, yes, Caitlyn deserved this award, but they also recognized it as a great opportunity to push a narrative.
Oh yeah, and I agree with that. Oh absolutely. Yeah, they took their opportunity to push it because they it was like, well, hey, anything good, this is good, is a good thing, but is out here, here's our chance to really
Yep.
you throw something out there.
Because
It's like,
you have to do that interview, right? You've got to do that long
yeah,
interview. And they're like, yeah, this is our chance to push it. And they
yeah.
succeeded in making us. That's why people are out there talking. And they're like, oh, Caitlyn Clark, she put it on her fans. She told her fans where to go. Right. And so now the media, oh my goodness, they just love her now.
And it's funny because I read somewhere that somebody say, oh, they just want to keep her relevant. I was like, what? Keep Caitlyn Clark relevant? She's relevant without even having a Time magazine article. What are you talking about? Her name has been talked about since the off season
Yeah.
numerous times, so it's like I don't even that was really like whoever was saying that really just didn't thought that they answer through or what their conversation was perceived to be.
Mhm.
So but I agree with you 100% that they succeeded because that's like going on ESPN, having an interview with ESPN,
Mhm.
and they gonna dissect everything that you say and put it into their little that's like if it was 30 for 30. They watch the whole 30 for 30, then they'll dissect every little piece,
Right.
and
Yeah.
probably Steve Naismith or Shannon Sharp, they'll have their little takes and tidbit. Well, they meant to say it this way, well, they should have said it this way.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
eh, eh,
Just a quick comment. Someone mentioned in the comments it was an honor, not an award. That's semantics to me. It's the award. It's the honor of you're being awarded or it's being bestowed upon you that you're athlete of the year. So however you want to say it, it's
mm,
same thing. Yeah.
so
So
yeah, yeah, pretty much. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, I think this probably will go on for probably the rest of the week. Um, there's, so much other things that I have missed out to talk about because there's some other things that just came up. And
mhm.
so but I figured this will probably go on probably the end of the week. And by next week, it will be a thing of the past. You know what I'm saying? I think if nobody will continue to keep it up, because I feel like, okay, I know what it is. I know what she said, but we I just haven't had a chance to collaborate with it with other um creators, such as yourself. And I just
Mhm.
want to hear other people insight on it and
Yeah.
everything like that. I have, did videos. I have, subscribers come and talk to me about it and stuff like that. And I sympathize how they feel. I always try to
Right.
respond back to my comments and to everybody as much as I can when I'm not busy. But at the end of the day, it just, I'm just not gonna pick up every little story and just run with it just
Right. Right.
because.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about whatever I feel like talking about that impacts the culture, etc. So the people who give comments that tell me to let it go and do that, like please, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna cover what I feel is important to cover. As far as Caitlyn, and I read a comment about because she used the term white privilege. That's it. I don't. Yeah, that's a thing for people, whatever. It's annoying. You keep it moving. But I think what some people are concerned about is that if you read the article, it sounded like she's taking it on her, that it's her responsibility to
Hmm.
change certain mindsets. And so I think people are concerned that this is going to be ongoing. So for the people who say let it go, Caitlyn has, you might want to go back and read the article because that's not what she said. That what she
Yeah.
said was that I recognize now. She said, as a rookie, exactly. As a rookie, she said, I was trying to navigate. Like they were feeling like she should have said more. Like back off people, she said plenty. Okay. And it's not her responsibility to take on your problems, your
Yeah.
issues, your mindsets. But they wanted her to do that. So she said, I was trying to navigate being a rookie, but I recognize that these kinds of things are important in this league. And they do. They consider themselves an activist league. And so she says, I understand that and I take that responsibility. So, in Caitlyn's words, this is something ongoing. Now, what that's going to look like, I have no idea. It
Yeah.
might be a simple Cheryl Reeve, let me borrow your Black Girls Rock shirt. I don't know, right? But so I think that's the case. It's some people are out there saying that, well, people just, they need to leave it about basketball. And then the other people are saying, it was Caitlyn who said that I got to focus on elevate Black. She crossed into that. And so that's the thing that some people don't quite get. And I don't know what that's going to look like. But I hope she just does what she's always done, like it says early in the article. She said, people look at me as controversial. I'm really not. I treat everybody the same. I think that's what people want. They don't want Caitlyn to feel like, well, I've got to pinpoint this. She's always mentioned Maya Moore. She's mentioned Cheryl Swoops. She's always mentioned the people, but she's never been like, let me mention the Black people. Yeah. In all honesty, that's degrading, honestly.
Yeah.
And she doesn't need to do that. She respects people as people. But I think what people are hearing is that now it's going to be about, okay, let's just pinpoint the Black people. And nobody wants that. Well, some people want that. Some people are really excited about that. But those are generally the race baiters.
Yeah, exactly.
People are people. Nobody calls Jordan the greatest Black basketball player. Or LeBron, as Caitlyn somehow thinks it's LeBron. But it's not because he's Black. It's because he's a great player.
Yeah. And it's funny because some people have an issue with her because she said that, hey, LeBron always been supportive of her. She never met him, but she read comments that he'll post on her X account and say, hey, good job or whatever the case may be. And she believes he's the greatest basketball player of all time. And a lot of people say, well, how can she say that? Because it's Michael Jordan. But you got to understand the era she grew up in. That's all she sees. She don't know nothing about Michael Jordan unless she go back and watch video or highlights and stuff. And this is where we have to understand that these are what how can I put it? Generational gaps. You know what I'm saying? She comes up in an era behind LeBron. That's all she sees is LeBron. You know what I'm saying? She thinks that, okay, what he does, if she feels like he's the greatest, that's her. I know that he's not.
Yeah.
I know he's not, but I'm not gonna sit here and say, well, she's wrong on that. Yeah. That's her opinion.
I mean, exactly. Now we can talk about that. This is like, okay, let's bring it to basketball. We can have a great conversation about who is the greatest, right? People have been having that conversation for a long time. For people who are, if you're really ticked off that she thinks it's LeBron, you got to go, huh? Come on, people, get a grip. It ain't LeBron, okay? And I don't know that Caitlyn hasn't watched Michael. I find it hard to believe if she hasn't. But even if she has, for me, my perspective, Michael Jordan is number one, and the closest to it at a close second is Kobe Bryant. Okay, then we might be able to talk about LeBron, but obviously she's entitled to think it's LeBron if that's what she thinks, right? So it's just kind of funny that the outrage. But this is what happens when they're mad at you about some things, then they get mad at you about everything you say. That's how
it's the nitpicking thing.
Exactly.
They find everything. They find everything they need to find to boom. Like somebody said, well, there have been other white women in the league, Breonna Stewart, Diana Taurasi, all of it, so forth, so Sabrina Ionescu and all of this. I said, well, hey, I mean, it only takes one. It only takes one generational player to set the path.
Mm-hmm.
Look what's going on in college right now. You got Pace coming out next year. You got Juju and Hannah coming out 3 years behind her. Look what Hannah Hidalgo is, even though people think she's controversial. I think there's another person that's controversial too that's on UCLA that I forgot her name. I think it's Sedonia. I don't want to mess it up completely. But you got all these young talent that's coming into the league.
But wait, what's controversial about Hidalgo?
Well, that she don't, she believes in straight. She doesn't believe in same-sex marriages and all that stuff.
That never used to be controversial.
Yeah.
Now it's controversial. That's funny. She's a Christian. She reads.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, yeah. But she's not hating on people. She just gonna
No.
speak the truth. Go speak the
Yeah.
truth. Yeah.
And that's so I want to ask you a question
Yeah.
because I had this in my thought process. Where do you see the league in 7 years? Because I did a whole self debate with myself on this,
Mhm.
because I have heard things and people say, well, hey, the league is not going to be around after Caitlyn Clark leave or whatever the case will be. None of the young talent that's there is not going to be able to do whatever it is to keep the league going and stuff like that. I want to ask you, how do you feel about the young talent coming behind Caitlyn Clark, and where do you see Caitlyn Clark taking the league in the next 2 to 3 to 7 years from
Mm.
now?
Listen, I don't know. I just came back to the league, okay, with Caitlyn Clark. I think, and I will probably do a video about this. I think that there's there are players who are coming up. Obviously, people talking about Paige, talking about Juju, talking about Hannah, talking about Flage, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I like about Iowa that I heard Jan Jensen say, and that I was like, yes, this is what I'm thinking. I think there's a lot of focus in the college game on how do we coach them to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things Jan Jensen said was that, and she said it several times in that interview, that I want to make sure we remain a college program, right? And so I think there's too much of trying to break people or make people to get to the next level instead of saying you're a college player, play like a college player. Okay. Now, having said that, I think the WNBA, as far as, I mean, if the NBA is going to continue to bankroll the WNBA, then okay, there's that. But I think this is make or break time. And it seems like they've got an ability to self-destruct. When you have owners of this league who see an opportunity there's a Caitlyn Clark, and you can have her talent on display, and a rising tide lifts all boats, and embrace her, and then see where that takes us, then you've got great opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
But when you constantly chop your own legs off because you are a racial idolater, or because you got a bunch of jealous, catty people, even Sheila Johnson said, well, what about the future? The woman who interviewed her. Well, we all need to get into a room with a psychologist, and we're going to have to talk it out. And you know what? They got issues.
Yeah.
And I said before the season, Caitlyn's rookie season started, that there are people in this league who would rather go back to basic obscurity than to have Caitlyn be the face of the league. They don't care if they have to fly commercial. Yeah. They don't care if they don't have, a bunch of fans in the stands, right? They just don't want it to be Caitlyn. But there are some other people who are coming up. And I hear a lot of people saying, when the old guard is done, this new bunch of people are just going to be there to play basketball, to have a good time. It's going to take it's going to take gutting. Sometimes with that house, you got to gut it out.
Yeah.
Maybe another league will show up, but this league as it is extremely toxic. I mean, let's be real. It's less about basketball and more about a whole lot of other stuff. And I don't know how much people are going to want to stay around for that, especially when they see this is an incredible moment and they want to be down with it. They want to rock with you. And you've done everything to talk about the new fans. Even Caitlyn did it in the article. And talk about these new fans and denigrate them and all this stuff. I think there's only so much people are going to take of that. And so this league has great opportunity, but if they don't capitalize on it, it's like a defining moment. Now, what are you going to do with it? Here's your chance. Sometimes doors close. And if you mess it up, somebody else will
Yeah.
come up with something else.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. And that's why I posed that question to you, because I wanted to hear your take on it, because I have a pretty interesting take on myself. And I look at the age of the old guard right now, and I say,
Mhm.
well, and I say, okay, CC is 7 years younger than Aja Wilson. By the time CC gets 26, 27, Aja Wilson will be in her early 30s. She'll be about 32, 33.
Mhm.
I say by that time, half of the old guards be getting ready to be pushed out. There won't be no Breonna Stewarts. There won't be no Brittany Grines. There won't be no Don Taurasi's. There won't be no Natasha Clouds and all of these people that's fixated of the toxicity going on in there. The Joanna Barnes, the Alyssa Thomases, and all
Yeah.
of them. So
Mhm.
I look at how I feel like Cece is such the catalyst right now for everything.
Mhm.
And I think that by the time she hits her peak in her prime, you have the young guard coming in, and it'll be more fresher. And I think some of this toxicity could be phased out a little bit by that time. Because I look at her, by the time she gets 25, 26, I say, okay, you look at it, Aja Wilson is not going to play to 40. I don't even think Angel Reese going to last 7 years in the league. I
I
just
said,
don't
I
think.
said 5. That was my prediction.
I don't think so. I think that because her skills are so limited, and I think she wants to be more of what she's doing now than basketball. She's trying to she's trying to make it look good, to perpetuate to her fans and everything. That's fine and good. That's her thing. But somebody that's generally breathe, eat, sleeps basketball like Caitlyn Clark, she has a mission that she's trying to accomplish. And I feel like if she could pave that way for a Page and all of them and have a clean, breathing, fresh league, then I could see that happening. But it's going to take time. It's going to take time because, like you illustrated, the league is so toxic, it's so buried down, it's so embedded. It's like you have to take a nuclear bomb and just throw it in there and just blow it all up and get it cleaned out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
you ain't lying. Yeah. And because too, when we talk about being cleaned out, it's sort of like who already has gotten their grips on the ones coming in,
mhm,
and then you're watching what you see, and that can have an impact of those who come in. So I can hope and pray that things turn around. But because listen, this league wasn't like this when I watched back in the
mm-mm,
early days. I just went back and watched. I was going to do a video on this. I just went back and watched Cynthia Cooper when she was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Now, I was a huge Cynthia Cooper fan. You want to talk about someone who had class, someone who felt extremely grateful for her opportunity on the court, because she had to play overseas, right?
mhm,
Italy. She came back, and she always, in the post-game interviews, I mean, her story with her mom and the fight with
yeah,
cancer, she always gave God praise. She just was a class act. It was a whole different vibe. Now, there were the rumors that she didn't get along with Cheryl Swoops and that there was some jealousy Cheryl Swoops had toward her and all that back then. But for the most part, and there was those rivalries, the Lisa Leslie and the Tina Thompson
mhm,
fighting, they had that. But for the most part, it was totally different. So when I don't know when it happened, like I left the league, I don't know what, and I didn't want to come back because I was like, I don't have time for this. By then you got people who are walking. They don't want to stand. They don't want to do the national anthem. They want to do the whole woke thing. And I'm like, listen, I'm not down for that.
yeah,
But now I'm like, oh man, Caitlyn's coming in. This is exciting. But I didn't know. I had no clue that I would encounter what I encountered. That's why I did the video the other day about Diana Taurasi when she said reality is coming.
mhm,
We were like, oh yeah, she means that Caitlyn's going to have a hard time on the court, which she did. But I'm like, it's more than that, because reality came to a bunch of us who were like, oh yeah, we we want to have a great time. And we thought, yo, these ladies are catty and petty and hurtful. And what is this? It's an eye opener. I hope it can be, I pray it can be turned around.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a very optimistic person, but I'm not oblivious to what's around me, but optimistic is the thing that, I believe any change can happen. It just it's going to take a lot of grit, to really get in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I, but it's just funny, because at the end of the day, we live in a time now that, everybody's just sensitive to everything, and like you
Oh
say,
yeah.
the league wasn't never like that, because I can remember too. I remember when the league first started. I was a Houston Comets fan.
Come on
You
now.
know,
4
sure,
championships
4 championships, four
in a
years in
row.
a row,
That's
and
right.
you never had an issue with none of that, never. And I watched Cheryl Swoops when she was at Texas Tech. I fell in love with her because she scored 47 points. And I was like, golly, this girl is bad. Because I remember Cheryl Miller, but I never watched Cheryl Miller because, she was older than I was. And then I was into the league, and then after the comments, they won and they didn't go back no more, and everybody went on with their own life. I still kept up with Tina Thompson a little bit. I missed the whole Maya Moore um time,
I remember her in UConn, but I didn't see a lot of
yeah, I
WNBA.
didn't see a lot of her in there. And then when I heard, and then when Shamika Holdsclaw came in the league, I remember when she came in the league, Tamika
Absolutely.
Catchings, because Shamika Holdsclaw she was one of my other favorites, because I used to ride with Tennessee Balls and
You know
Pat Summitt
me.
a lot.
Tennessee all the way. Got my Pat Summitt books up here. Listen,
Yeah,
there was the 3 Meeks. It was Tamika
yep,
Catchings, Shamika Holdsclaw, and Samika Randall. They were the
yep,
3 Meeks, and they had, Pat Summitt had won 3 championships in a row, and they were going for that 4th one, and they fell short. But
yeah.
yeah, it was a different
And
flow, different feeling,
and then, because then that's when I saw the rise of UConn with Gino O'Mara, and from that point I never liked him. From that day I had encountered him when he beats Pat Summitt, I despised that guy, and I was like, I don't like him. He has
I
this
never liked
arrogance about him that sickens me. And I was so much a Pat Summitt person because the way she coaches, and that what Lisa Bluter remind me of Pat Summitt when
yeah,
she coaching at Iowa. So, and then
yeah.
When Candace Parker came, I rooted for her because Chicago Bulls is my NBA team. So when she went there to win a championship, I kind of rooted for her for there. But I didn't know she was going through a lot of stuff too there when she came into the league as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
but then after that was it for me. I kind of like I would watch college more so than I had watched um the WNBA, and then lo and Lord, Caitlin Elizabeth Clark came along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm looking at Donna J. Let's see how we do this. Yeah, she said I was a huge Kim Perrott fan back in that time. And I just got to say, because that's how I missed the
Mm-hmm.
whole first year of the WNBA. I went through a period in my life where I wasn't watching television. So I don't even know if I knew the WNBA existed the first year. The second year of the WNBA, television was on that time. I
Mm-hmm.
turned the television channel and I saw this fiery point guard wearing the red, the white, the blue, whatever, pushing the ball up the floor, tiniest thing ever. And it was exciting. That was Kim Perrott, number 10, who unfortunately, she passed away of cancer. She was Cynthia Cooper's best friend. And so when Donna J mentions, when she mentions Kim Perrott, I have to say that's how I became a WNBA fan. I was hooked. I didn't even know that they had won the first championship. I didn't know anything about the first year. I just was hooked because this player played with that kind of fire and passion, like we like to see with Caitlyn, pushing the ball up the floor, fast paced. That's how they rocked and roll. And she was a walk-on. She didn't even get, she wasn't even drafted or any, she was something else, man.
Oh yeah, man, Kim Parat she was
Yeah,
short, but she could move that ball up the court like
she
with the
could.
quickness.
And she
And
led
I
their team. They loved her, man.
you know what's funny? I used to love when I used to love when Tina Thompson used to shoot them threes, and she used to
Oh
throw
yeah.
them three fingers up, and I used to love it. I used to like let her shoot them threes, just let her
Oh
shoot them
man.
threes.
She was knocking
And
those threes down. Yeah.
yeah, and I remember then they wanted to have a little controversy between Cynthia Cooper and Cheryl Swoops, and, you
Mhm.
know, because who was the leader of the team and all of that, and they was just so good. And then, you know, I always wanted them to beat New York.
Oh
I
yeah.
hate to say
Oh yeah.
I was born in New York, but I
Me
do not
too.
like no I don't like no New York teams,
Well,
none.
I never liked the Liberty. That's why I said only Asia Wilson could have gotten me to root for New York in that series between
Yeah,
the Aces, because I never liked the Liberty, never liked Teaspoon. Although I Teaspoon played with fire, I
yeah,
mean she was a fireball and passionate. But I never liked Rebecca Lobo. Of course, she came from UConn, so there's that
yeah.
too. But no, I wasn't a fan. I mean, I'm from New York. I've been in when they played in Madison Square Garden, I've been in there wearing my Comet shirt when they were playing against when their Comets were playing the Liberty. And you know how it is. You know New York fans, and I got the nerve to
Oh
show up
yeah.
there with a Comets thing. I got into a few words with somebody in there too.
It's funny because I never liked nobody from UConn. The only person I had really, really resonated with there was Diana Taurasi because of the way she played. It
Mm,
was just she played almost like a female version of Kobe and Mike at the time, you know, when she was playing. And I just like it was just something about her playing style that I liked. But then when she came into the league, I kind of watched her on and off, but I really didn't get into her like that. It was just during that time. But
yeah.
I never like follow her like religiously, you know, like, hey, I want to see her play because I didn't like the team she played for. If she probably had played for another college, I probably would have followed her career a lot closer.
Well, she's a
So,
lot like Gino. They both had that same arrogance about them. So
oh yeah,
I never liked Diana Taurasi, but then again, I don't like UConn, right? So
yeah,
but she was just really arrogant. She had that swagger. Having
hmm
said that, though, I'm not saying Cece will be arrogant, but I said for months now, I think, and I believe it's true. I believe when she comes back, hopefully, as we this stuff blows over, I believe when she comes back for her second season, I've said I believe there's going to be a different swagger about
mm,
her. Not like I just thought Tarasi was just arrogant. It's weird though because I was gone from the league so long without even realizing how long it was. When I came back to the league and they started talking about Diana Taurasi being in her 40s, I was like, wait a minute, she can't be 20 years older. That means I'm 20 years older. That's not cool, right? So
yeah.
yeah, but time is
It's
cool.
funny you said that about what's Caitlin's second year gonna look like. And I know you haven't watched it, but I have. I have watched the recent video that they just put out, the Indiana Fever, with Caitlyn Clark and Stephanie White.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that it's a must-see video because it shows that Stephanie White is working her, and you can see her working, and on the things that she said that she wants to get better in. And
Mm-hmm.
I said this that MVP will be hers next year.
I'm down with that.
I honestly believe that. I think this team, if they put this team together, I don't know what their plans in the off season or whatever, because I haven't even did anything for free agency or picking plays. I only did one video to it, but I believe that Caitlin she has that mentality of Michael and Kobe. And I think when she knows what the league looks like in her rookie year. Now she has that taste of it,
Mm-hmm.
and she's going to definitely gonna cause more problems on the court because they can't come at her the same way they came at her in a rookie season because she's going to have her game is going to translate differently. She's going to be able to do more different things. She's going to have probably better weapons. She's going to have her partner in crime, hopefully Kelsey Mitchell there, Leah Boston. So things are going. You're going to have to play Caitlyn a whole different way. And if you try to play her the same way you play her in her rookie season, then
Yeah.
you're gonna really pay for it a
Yeah.
lot.
I hope she becomes that player that you may know exactly what she's going to do. I mean, she's like you said, she's adding to the arsenal. But you took a player like Cheryl Swoops. Everybody knew Cheryl Swoops couple quick dribbles to the left. She preferred to go left like CC. The quickest release you could ever see. Boom.
Yeah.
Right. And everybody knew what the scouting report was, but you still couldn't stop her. And out on the break, you can't catch Cheryl Swoops. You couldn't catch her. And like people said, if you thought from television that she looked fast, it was nothing like in person. Yeah. I mean, lightning quick. Okay. So Caitlyn, I hope she becomes a player that you don't even know how to guard her. Like with Cynthia Cooper, if you play her up close, she could blow by you. And Cynthia Cooper wasn't even extra quick, she was crafty. And so you could play her close, she drive by you. You step back to protect her from driving, she shoot the three, right? That's CC. And now she's getting runners. She's working on the mid-range game more. She's driving to the back, all this stuff. It's like, Now, as far as the MVP goes, she's going to have to come with it completely because ain't nobody doing Caitlyn any favors. Not that she needs them. Not that she needs them, but I say that to say there are people out there who want to stop her. Especially now, you want to talk about that the Black players deserve the shine, then you better make sure you completely outshine them because they're going to hold you to what you said. And it might not be fair. It might not be fair. But, when you bring your game, listen, they had to cave this season. They didn't want her to be Rookie of the Year. Other than the one person who voted for Angel Reese, everybody said, you know what? We can't even fight this no more. we can't even. It's over. She got it. She had it a long time ago, but finally it was like we can't even deny it no more.
I know they was like
WCC in season 2 as well.
And they was trying to when she was fourth in MVP voting, they was like, oh, she's not there. She don't have the numbers. They was doing every kind of thing, but technically she probably should have been third on that list if you ask. I think it was Aja, Nafisha, and I think it was Caitlyn third. But
so it was AT who got third, right?
Yeah. I think it was AT. I don't know why, but she can't shoot.
Oh, yeah. That's for sure. But for her to even be in the conversation, especially since we're talking about UConn, especially after what Gino said, and then he was just like, oh my goodness, they're delusional. These fans actually think that she can be MVP. I mean, so that makes it even sweeter. And that's what CC does. Like, seriously, she just goes out and lets her game do the talking.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got to respect that. No matter what you think about this or that, like she just said, I'm just gonna, like, even the conversation in the Times article about the Olympics, like she really wanted that. And she said this was something I thought was interesting. It wasn't just that they woke a monster for the rest of the season. She said, I believe that will stay with me for the rest of my career. That's how serious she took not being on that team.
As you know, that's a motivation factor.
Yeah.
Because now she's going to go into these seasons until she gets to the Olympics. You're not going to stop me. You're not going to stop nothing that I have said. When Michael Jordan got cut, came back.
He came back. He came back.
Tom Brady, he wasn't the best when he came, and look what he did. It's just something like that triggers a person that's so competitive. And she said it when she was talking about it on with Robin Roberts at that Mass Women's Summit. She was on stage, and she was talking about how she was so competitive, and the team that she played with, a bunch of guys, didn't want her to be MVP because she was a woman. And she was like, she can't help it because she was that good. And when you deny somebody something and they know they deserving of it,
Oh
that
yeah.
just puts something in them, a fire in their belly to come out next year and prove to you that I I should have been there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like that every year, every year, every year, every year.
Originally, she felt like that way, but then she went on the article and she said they asked this question, and we all heard the question. They asked this question: well, who would you take off the team? And she said, well, when she looked at it like that, she felt like they made the right decision. And I thought, well, Caitlyn, I can name two people they should have left off the team. One of them was
Yeah,
Diana Taurasi. The other one was Chelsea Gray. So yeah, you did deserve
Alyssa
it.
Thomas.
You did, yeah. I mean, like for the position, for her position,
Yeah.
And so, so yeah, there were people who should not have been there, but she, like she said, you know what? That's fine. I needed the rest. It helped, but did she want to be there? Absolutely wanted to be there, and she should have been there. And no, Caitlyn, it was not just as some people mentioned, like Stephen A. Smith, who said about the media, like it was just for media. Yes, it would have been a very smart business decision. But no, Caitlyn, it wasn't just for that. There were people who truly believe, based on your skill, and listen, I didn't watch a speck of the Olympics, but I caught like on, a piece here and there from the news at the end or whatever, the score at the end of the last game, whatever. They could have used Caitlyn for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So yeah, and yeah, from market standpoint, yeah, basketball standpoint, she one of those spots should have been hers.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And it just goes to show that you got Cheryl Wee's hand in it, you got Dawn Staley hand in it, you got
Gino Auriemma's hand in it.
Gino O'Meara's hand in it. What's the
Cheryl Reeve obviously was the coach, so
yeah, and what's the president or the GM for the Minnesota Lynx? Her hand was in it too, So it was just it's just too much,
well, we
It's
heard we heard what excuse me to cut you up. We heard what Dawn Staley had said over there. She said if Caitlyn had been playing earlier the way she's playing now, then we would have highly considered her, And anyway, I'm thinking, well, Chelsea Gray wasn't playing well, Diana Taurasi wasn't playing well, but okay.
Y'all benched Diana Taurasi most of the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's all good. Like she said, this will be, and she didn't just say till the next in 4 years, 2028. Yeah. She said for the rest of my career. She probably made up her mind that never again will I not make something that I want to make. And so as long as that's a healthy drive, then that's fine. Yeah. So
somebody said fantasy position, Satu, reality, Natasha Howard is slow. Still a good upgrade. She could come off the bench, but I don't think she could start. I like her. She could shoot, but running up and down that floor with Cece, you're gonna have to have cardio exercise for that.
No, for real. I want to address something, if I can, that Donna J said in reference to something Julie said about Rachel Demita. I was watching that or listening to it because I was driving also, because she said she's done with the WNBA. And so she clarified that to mean that she's so done with the negativity and all the take. It's like what you just said, Marty. You were just like, I'm not going to keep covering every little bit. So she said, I want to make sure that when I put out a video that people have something to take away from it, not just more of the toxicity and stuff. So for her, unless she's got something with a message, she's just like, I can't be doing this. I can't give my my time to this mess and everything Sheila Johnson said and all that, because it's so wild,
Yeah.
So that was what she was saying too. People are fed. Some people are just fed up with it.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Like I didn't even know who Sheila Johnson was. I mean, until they highlighted her, and then I did a background check. I said, "Oh, okay, this is how she got her money." That's the first thing I said. That's how she got her money, and then she tried to make herself so irrelevant when your team is really in the dark ages. I mean, you you haven't highlight your own rookie on your team, and you worrying about somebody else making the cover, and you worrying about other people. It's like, man, whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
then you CC carried 33% of your financial coverage for your team, and because you had to move your team twice. And that's the same thing what Maria Taylor was on the stage. She was talking to Cece about. She was like, hey, she said, she was giving her all kind of, Caitlin all kind of props. She said, well, I live in Atlanta, and when we knew when Caitlin was coming to town, we knew we had a showtime. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was like, for them Atlanta to move it, everybody the only team I think didn't move it was the Chicago Sky, because they ain't wanted they didn't want to give Caitlin that credit. We already know what that was about.
They're like, no, we're not doing that. We just turn
Nah,
them away. We'll just turn them away.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now, did you? I know you probably didn't see it, but did you see August the 15th next year they gonna have the Atlanta Dream and the Seattle's oh gosh, I can't it's the Seattle
Oh, is that,
Storm
uh-huh.
playing Canada.
No, they're gonna have a game in Canada. No, I haven't heard.
Yeah, first NBA game in Canada. I was like, they're no two worst. They're about to be the two worst teams in the league next year. Why would you put them out there? Why
Uh,
would you could have put Caitlyn versus Paige out there? That would have been more attractive. You can put two teams that one team has a bad co-owner in Atlanta, and then you got a toxicity team that nobody's really gonna be caring about this year in Seattle. So, hopefully, I'm gonna do the schedule lookup. I
mhm,
hope it's not on the same day that the Fever has to play, because if
mhm.
it is, that's gonna be a bad look.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
So, do you have any closing comments or anything that you wanted to get out?
no, I want you to say more about what you saw. You said there was a video that just came out with
Oh yeah. So the video that I with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever and Stephanie White, they were showing um her, working on her game and everything,
mhm,
dribbling from both sides or between the legs, one hand bounce dribble. She was doing floaters. She was doing left hand floaters. Um, she was doing like driving to the rim a little bit more. She had mid range shot. They didn't show her shooting no threes or nothing like that. It was just everything was like a lot of mid range and ball handling skills and stuff like that. And then you've seen her and Stephanie White sitting next to each other like mother and daughter on the bench. And then Stephanie was kind of like showing her some techniques and stuff like that and
mhm,
everything. And then you saw Caitlin like was walking like she got worn out. So that was she was working on the game. She was really working focused and working on her game.
mhm.
Um
Okay.
so
I'll
and
check
it's
it out.
something,
April just told me that she DM'd me that
yeah.
already, so I'll have to check that out. That's pretty cool. Here's the difference I think what we're going to see with Caitlin, as good as she is in her growth. I think with Christy Sides, Caitlin showed her respect because she's her coach,
Hmm.
but I don't think she respected her because she could tell. She even threw it in the article. I just a line in the article, but she put it in there. It was sort of like, okay, figure it out, right? And
Yeah.
so I don't think that she had the respect for her that would enable her to be able to receive from her in such a way. Because it's sort of like, I'm not saying that Christy Size couldn't, but she saw her deficiencies on display. But she has such great respect for Stephanie White, how she's covered the games, her college games, how she knows the game, So I think she'll receive even more from her, and it's
Hmm.
going to cause her to respond even better.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I think she's going to you I always say this, a good coach knows when you have a coach that has watched your game and played the same position, understands the game just like you do, and has a very high IQ along with a very high IQ player.
Hmm.
Even Kelsey Mitchell had alluded to this early in the year when doing shoot around. She said they had to get on the same page with Caitlin because her IQ is so
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like she's always 1 or 2 steps ahead of you. And
Right.
when you play with a person like that that has a very high IQ, they see things on the court that you can't see. You
Mm-hmm.
might see it one way, but she's looking at it and say, "Hey, this is how it is."
Mm-hmm.
Even we saw it at the All-Star game when they was practicing when Anika and all of them, DeWanda Bonner, they was all in the huddle and Caitlyn was directing them and everything. It was looking like you could tell they never had that, even playing with some of the players that they had. They're like, who. And
Oh yeah.
then when they showed out on the floor, they was like, Jacqueline Jones was like, okay, yeah, I got Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Nesco, but who? This is different,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. No, that's why in the beginning we were so frustrated because we were like, catch the passes, you know? And so it was like there were all these turnovers, and we're just like, guys, if you're watching, you can tell there, yeah, she made mistakes along the way, everyone does, but there's some things that just were not her mistakes. It's just that she's seeing it, she's so far ahead. The IQ is it's up there. And then, but toward the end, as the season progressed, we saw everybody catching up. If we had another 10 games in the season, man, it would have been something else, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. But
oh yeah, definitely.
2020 is not bad. 2020 record.
Yeah, I looked at their record. I do this all the time, but I say it's what 44 games this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I said what 34. Somebody said 34-6. I actually said um I said I said 34-10. That's what I said. I think they'll lose by 10 games.
I
We'll win
think
by
they lose
30.
about 10.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. We certainly will find out. I hope they start off and just, how they went like 1-8, right? To start off last season. It'd be kind of cool to see them just 8-0.
If
8-0.
they go,
I don't want to get
yeah,
ahead of myself, but
I think they can go 8-0. I looked at that schedule. I say, yeah, they could go undefeated. If they was to go on a run like 20-0, that number one seed that number one seed gonna be locked up. That number one seed gonna be locked up. Somebody say 18-0, let's go.
right. I mean, yeah, no. See, the people who are not, and I understand. I'm saying this sort of funny, but the people who are like, yo, we just done with CC, yo, we done. And they're gonna be catching that, Indiana Fever, 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. And then they're gonna be like this. They gonna have their phone, they gonna put their finger like this, like they're gonna half look at the score.
Yeah.
Just see what CC doing.
I know, right? They're gonna be like,
because seriously, like if you love the game and you guys were watching because of the game and it was great looking basketball and stuff, you're gonna be like still going,
yeah.
What's she doing? Right? So, I mean, everybody's gonna do that, but I'm just kind of making a funny sort of. Yeah.
Yeah. I already say that Kelsey and Caitlyn was the best backcourt in the league.
Yep, I agree.
And I think they're going to even just take it even further. I think this is going to be hard. And I'm still waiting to see what the pieces that they're going to have. I know everybody, talked about Sonia Centron from Notre Dame because she can shoot threes and defense. I love her too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's a young lady named Aja Savik. She's 19. She's young, but she has the same skill set as Satu Sabali. Same skill set, and and I don't know. She's probably gonna be a development player, but she's so young, but she plays really good ball. So, and I haven't did a video yet, but I want to get to it sometime this week. What Amber Cox had to say, because she did alluded to what they probably looking for. I believe they're going to go more international to find players.
Okay.
I think that. Because if you look at the free agency that some of the players in the league now, unless you make trades, and if they don't really want to give up too much, I think won't mind trying to trade for Satu, but I don't think they will try to trade for any other pieces unless they're free agents. But I think they'll look overseas a whole lot more, some of them international players. And I could see them doing that because if you look at the Minnesota Lynx,
Mm-hmm.
some of their players are international,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they had a recipe for success, but they're looking for 3-and-D players that you could play outside on a wing, you could shoot, and you could defend. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a good bunch of them over there and overseas right now that could fit what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on Satu? Not Satu. What are your thoughts on Damaris Dantas and her role with the team? Is she staying? Is she? What's going to look like?
I think, and a lot of people, this is where I had the issue with when people talk about Damaris Dantas, because you got to think Damaris Dantas was injured before she came back into the lineup last year. She
Mm-hmm.
had a knee issue. So when you have a knee issue and you sitting up and you're not really moving, you going to have weight on you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And before I think when the season came in and before the season started, I did a piece on her, and her game is very helpful to Caitlyn. She
Mm-hmm.
could rebound, she could play the post, she could shoot mid range, she could shoot the three good.
Spread the.
She excellent in the pick and roll. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember how Leah Boston came into the league. I mean the season or
Oh
the
yeah.
weight.
Yep.
That's Dantas. Dantas had a knee injury. Nobody's taking that accountable of her why she couldn't move as well as she wants to. I think she has one more year on her contract. I think she comes into the league a little bit more healthier, a little bit more faster, a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more able to move. I think her role for this team, especially as a bench scorer,
Mm-hmm.
to come off what is going to be beneficial. Now, if she comes back with the same weight and stuff like that, then all bets off. But I think she knows that she's going to have to come back a little bit more healthier, a little bit more because she have to run the floor. Even Leah Boston said it. I have to come back in shape because I want to be able to run the floor.
Exactly.
She knows she got to run with Caitlyn. She can't be jogging up the
Everybody knows
court.
now.
They
Everybody
know
knows.
that.
And
Yeah.
Lexi Hall, I know she's working on her shot because
Mhm.
that corner shot, that left corner shot, we need you to knock that down, right? I don't know what's going to be up with Samuelson.
Yeah.
Well, that's another one. We need her shot back if she's, you know.
Her contract is the issue because she
Yeah.
still has another year or two on there, and she has a lot of money on there, and
Yeah.
finding a trade partner is going to be hard with her. But I do want to see Victoria Saxon get some time for what the last game of the season. I think when they played the Washington Mystics, and she was out there. She scored on the point. She hit a three. She rebounded. She ran the floor. And you couldn't really tell what her game was like because she was buried on the bench because
Yeah.
Chrissy
That's
Size
exactly
had her.
right. Everybody
Yeah.
mentioned Victoria, and I'm like, what? I mean, because I never got to see anything, so maybe she'll surprise me.
Yeah. So, and she just had her jersey retired also.
Okay. Let me
Yeah.
ask you this question.
Okay.
Because we know Aaliyah had her high school jersey retired. You're talking about Saxton's high school jersey?
Yeah. High school jersey.
So I didn't know, but so Aaliyah just got her high school jersey retired, right? And so did Lexi Hall, right?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about their high schools and how they generally do things. Do you think that somehow Caitlyn being in the league help usher this in, or do you just think that this is what their schools do? I mean, I was just curious, like playing with her, did it shine a brighter light on them?
I think it did. I think it did at some point. I think Aaliyah Boston had that light, but
Yeah.
I think having Caitlyn there is the figurehead. It highlights everything that we didn't get to see of these players. You know, the appreciation of them. Look at Lexi Hall. You know, she was injured. I think her and Melissa Smith came in the league together. They was both injured on one point in time. She worked her way back, and she had to navigate through Chrissy Size just to get some playing time. Now look at her. Her light is a little bit brighter. Aaliyah Boston, her numbers got a little bit better in the second half, especially when it came down to passing out of the post a little bit more. She was able to be useful in a different way than just be a post player to score. So I think having that a person like Caitlin Clark, when we talked about high IQ to pull you out to make you better, to do different things that you probably haven't done in college and stuff like that, it
Mm-hmm.
shines a little bit light. Even Victoria Saxon, even though she hadn't got a little bit that much play, but I think now some of these players are going to get a little bit more lighting into their tunnel.
Mm-hmm. I sure hope to see. I think with Stephanie White, that screen and roll, Aaliyah Boston, like they never really they didn't have her do too much rolling to the basket, right? It was like she just kind of popped out, right? She didn't really roll like we saw Caitlyn do with Sananu, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that we get to see more of that, to screen and roll to the basket, let Caitlyn hit her, make her job a little bit easier there,
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what Stephanie White has them doing. It's I hope it's fun. I hope they get started off fun. What do you think about playing Chicago 5 times?
I don't like it. I heard a lot of people talk about it. I don't even like it. I wish it was just 3 times or 4 times. Really 3 times to me, because it's just seem like the league is trying to force feed the rivalry down our throat when we know it's not a rivalry, because Caitlyn beat them 3 times out of 4 last year. It's probably they're probably going to sweep them all 5 games. Probably win 4 out of 5 this year, 3 out of the 5. Still going to have a winning record against Angel Reese. It's not going to be a big deal, and so because I don't think the Chicago Sky is going to be good. They all sitting up here talking about, they getting Jewel Lloyd, which that ain't about to happen. But I just don't think that 5 games, that's like a playoff game, playoff series, 5 games. What can you get out of them for 5 games? The only way you're gonna maximize that is the Chicago Sky move to the United Center. Move their games to the United Center. That's the only way you're gonna maximize it. If you're gonna have it in that same little rinky-dink stadium, you could just have 1 or 2 games like that and be done. Have a 1-1. Have one game.
You're messing up the in-person max, like the numbers of people who would, you've got a bunch of fans for the Fever and a whole bunch of fans for Chicago, and they're playing each other 5 times, and that's like, I mean, you're not going to be. Cheryl Swoops was saying something about this too. Like it'd be better, like the first game, because their first game is against the Sky, right? That's the first game.
Yeah.
But she was saying that like you got a whole bunch of Indiana Fever fans and a whole bunch of Sky fans, but there's only a certain amount of people who can make it in the building.
Exactly.
So anyway, it's kind of interesting.
Duke Lombardi said win trust. Well, I don't even trust that stadium to be trusted anyway. So, but yeah, that's
back in the day, they used to play every team. If I remember right, they played every team the same amount of times.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Like that's, so 5 is, I can see starting that way. You want to start off with people who want to tune in and stuff, but 5 is a whole lot.
Yeah, it's like to me, it's not the rivalry. It's not a rivalry. It's not. I mean, I understand for TV ratings and all of that, but not 5 times, because nobody's want to see Angel Reese come into the league and do the same. I mean, come into the season doing the same thing she was doing last year. Nobody wants to.
But
I can see if
she's working on her game too, so we don't know.
Yeah, she was lifting. Yeah, I've seen she was lifting weights or whatever the case may be, doing some pulleys and stuff. But if you had like the matchup, Caitlyn versus Kennedy Carter, yeah, okay, there you go. But her against Angel Reese, I mean, when we know that Camila Cardoso should, she should play more this year. She should be able to be a more focal point in the offense. But we don't know what they plan is. They don't have no point guard. They don't even know.
We don't know about Kennedy Carter. Sounds like she's out. Sound like
sound like they ain't not going to even try to bring her back.
Yeah.
They said somebody said that the Fever played the Dream too many times too. So I don't know. I just think that you're trying to overcompensate for something, other than TV ratings, and I don't I don't think that's necessary. I
Hmm.
could see if you had um her playing, everybody got to even other games, and I think they try to even out. So they said, well, let's go a little bit more over here with the Chicago Sky Fever thing. Nobody wants to see that no more. We already know the outcome of it going to be each game. You know, yeah, Chicago Sky might get a game or two over them, might not. We don't know. So
I mean,
it's just,
we don't know either way. Listen, games are played on the court, so we'll
yeah,
find out. They're gonna have to bring it.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So, but unless that, I mean. I think, like I said, I think Stephanie White and the management is somewhere. A lot of people still skeptical of Stephanie White,
Mm,
because her time over there at Connecticut. But I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
sometimes you got to go with the flow. You know what I'm saying? And I think Connecticut was toxic too because the management, the GM, her and the GM didn't get along. So, and
Mm,
whatever we talked about this before. I just feel like if she did have something that she needed to say about how the team was constructed, you got to think Alyssa Thomas was there a long time.
mhm.
Kurt
Yeah.
Kurt Kurt Miller was there and he left. They probably ran over him. Stephanie White only been there 2 years, so that'll tell you something right then and there.
Yeah. Yeah. She got up out of there.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely. So, and she said that if it wasn't the fever, she probably wouldn't have left.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And they said, it sounds like they said if it weren't for her, they probably would have stuck with Chrissy Sides. I mean, they kind of insinuated that. I don't know if that's accurate,
Yeah.
if that's true, but they sort of said, when she became available, but I have a feeling if almost anybody became
Yeah,
available.
I think they still would have fired Chrissy Sides. They probably would have they probably would have fired the coach, hired the coach that the Sparks would have hired. He probably was on their list. We don't even know.
We don't know
So
the things
I
that
I
we don't
know,
need to know.
yeah. All I know is no more Chrissy Sides, and she's still without a job.
Yeah, she is. I mean, I give her credit for what she needs to get credit for. The
Yeah,
team building, back to the playoffs. I mean, although I think a lot of that was done in spite of her, but I just think she was in over her head, and they thanked her for what she did, and I wish her well. I don't know what that's going to look like. I mean, I know some people when I said where do her skills fit, and people were like, oh, she needs to be a junior high coach. And I was like, yeah, I was like, let me tell you, I think you need to be a better coach at the lower levels. Honestly,
yeah,
I mean, you're I think it's easier to coach at a higher, not necessarily professional, but man, you get those lower levels, you got to make sure you get it right so that they build on that moving up. So I don't know if I'd put her down there with the younger.
yeah. I agree.
Kind of kidding.
But I think now that I think some of this stuff has kind of died down a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
some people gonna try to keep it ongoing and stuff like that. But I feel like now it's by her putting out this video, her training video is something refreshing to talk about. It's
Hmm.
basketball.
Hmm.
Not controversial stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that she could like put stuff behind her,
Yeah.
go out and still
Sure.
be in the public eye, have fun, and
Mhm.
still work on her game.
Yeah, right.
'Cause-
Yeah, that's so important. Now, of course, I am the Adrienne Ross show where sports and culture connect. So we got to connect the culture with the sports because that's sports are a microcosm of society. But I
Yep.
certainly enjoy whenever we can highlight the positive because there's a lot of toxicity and it needs to be called out. I mean, I'm not going to turn a blind eye to it either.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the seeing them in the gym and getting ready for next year and speculating about what are the pieces and that I mean that's what a lot of people were longing for when what they thought they were getting.
And besides, I'm going to the first game this year. So,
oh, really? You know, I thought about it, and then I thought, I think I want to see him play a few games first, get the cobwebs off a little bit. These games are so expensive right now, too.
yeah. And I had booked my hotel for the All-Star game next year. But also, when they announced it past year, I booked it right then and there because I knew it was going to be expensive, and I got it right then and there. So I'm like, I'm
Oh, you
looking to
got a
go
good
to
deal.
Oh yeah,
I heard that after the Time Magazine Athlete of the Year, that it's even
oh yeah,
way up there. So I don't know.
It's gonna be. That's why I was like, I'm keeping it locked in. I'm going, and I'm like, you know what? Hey, if this is gonna be the only two games, the game and the All-Star game that I go to this year, hey, it's gonna be worth it. I'm going. It's gonna be worth it because man, I'm telling you, because it's gonna get us, especially if they start winning. If they have like be on this like trajectory of winning streaks or having a winning record, them ticket prices is gonna skyrocket even more.
Listen, I'm not paying half my mortgage to go.
No, nah.
Especially, listen, if I gotta go, I gotta make sure I have great seats because that's how I watch sports. Like I want to be tuned in. I remember having an opportunity to go to a playoff game where the Houston Comets were playing the New York Liberty. Obviously, I was living in New York, and I said, well, where are the seats? And they weren't great because I said, unless I'm like real close, I'm so intense. I'd rather stay home and be able to see it. If I got to go to the arena and watch on the Jumbotron, that I'm not doing. You know, I'm not going to watch on the Jumbotron. I'd like to get in the arena, but I'm going to have seats that are good enough for me to be able to actually see.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah.
But exactly.
These people still in the comments arguing over white privilege.
Yeah, they're still going at it.
Yeah,
they still going at it.
She didn't exactly say it. That's not the word she said. like we can't put it together. But anyway, yeah. Anyway,
but well, all in all, I mean,
I got God. Let me tell you, I got Jesus privilege.
Yeah,
I'm rocking with that. And even he says, if a man don't work, he don't eat. So even with privilege like that, you got to do your part, right? Right.
No, that's right. I know that's right. It's me personally, you know, my faith, my spirituality is very strong. I pay attention to a lot of things, and I see things, but I know how to navigate around, you know. So at the end of the day, I just, you know, I think, like I said earlier, some of this stuff is going to die down, and we're going to find something else to talk about eventually. And that's just how it is. When it's a hot topic, everybody wants to jump on it. You know, everybody wants to have a vocal, you know, and then I mean,
what's fascinating to me is that for years people wanted people wanted them talking about the WNBA, and then they got this moment, and everybody, I mean, it's everywhere. They said Fox News is talking about, CNN is talking about, everybody's talking about, and that's why I said they weren't ready for the moment, right? Because we want them to be talking about the logo threes. We want them to talk about, you know, the draft. What I'm talking about, and instead they're talking about a whole lot of other stuff. So it was like, it's sort of like, can you stand to be blessed? Like you're praying for the blessing, and the blessing is come, and you're looking for something else. You know, it's sort of like they say somebody's drowning. You know, they're hanging on to the raft, and somebody comes by the boat, and you say, no, I'm waiting on Jesus. Thank you. Somebody has the helicopter. They come, no, I'm waiting on Jesus. And then you try to figure out, Lord, where are you? And he said, I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter, and you still couldn't see it. So it's like the WNBA. You're being given this moment. You're being given gifts. You're given opportunity, and you waiting for somebody else to look a certain way and sound a certain way, and you miss it. You know. So y'all better get on that boat, because it lifts that rising tide to lift you up.
You ain't lying.
You better get on the boat.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well, Adrian, as always, I really, really, really appreciate you. Um,
appreciate you
um,
too.
so stopping by again, and we chop it up and everything. So, and I know we both had a lot more to discuss and everything like that. And probably, sometime in the season when the season starts, maybe we could do a live stream during the game time and kind of like call the game out, as it goes on, depends on your time, your timing, whatever the case might be. So that's something that, a little bit interesting. I try to do something for my, you know, my fans and everything like that. So kind of like working on some other stuff, but at the same time, because I know right now it's such a downtime, and I definitely want to see I think Thursday or Friday that Juju and um Paige play. So that's gonna be pretty interesting right there.
Juju and
I've
Pay.
been
Okay. Um, I thought that isn't that the 20 is the 21st? Isn't that Saturday they play?
No, I think it's Friday, Thursday or Friday. I think it's one of them days. I
I
don't
think
know
it's
because
the 21st. I looked it up today, whatever the day of the week
oh,
that is.
ooh, that's gonna be tough because college playoffs start that day. But I'll still have access to watch the game. So I have fell in love with Hannah Hidalgo. I love her
Yeah,
game. I
yeah,
really
yeah.
love her game. She reminds me of short version of Caitlyn. Her grittiness, her defense. She's gritty on defense.
Mhm.
Um, and she could shoot from the outside. You give her range, and she will take it to the basket. She could pass, and I just love her how she plays the game. She plays the game without all the extra stuff, and that's what I like.
And a lot
You
of
know,
fire, a lot of fire. In that.
a lot of fire, and it rubs off on Olivia Miles too. You see it.
Well,
It rubs off.
that's one of the things that some people have said though. That some people find Paige, Ambo, Juju, that they're missing that. I mean, great basketball players, but they're that extra that people like to
Mm,
see, like Caitlyn pumping up the crowd and
yeah,
Hannah and so. Although I imagine if you're not a Notre Dame fan, you might find Hannah obnoxious. You know, you might find that
mm,
obnoxious, but if you just love the fire that you get in the game, like I said, it's what drew me to Kim Perrott, etc. But that's what
yeah,
some people said that in this day and time, a lot of people love that fire, but you don't get that with so much with Paige, and you don't get that so much
yeah,
with Juju, and that's fine. I mean, your personality is your personality,
yeah.
and you got to be you. So
Some people
yeah,
have the dog, and some people don't.
yeah. Well, if you call it the dog, I guess
That's what they call it. They had that dog in them. So,
that's funny.
um, and the thing about it, Notre Dame still got two people out injured.
Mm. Are you
So,
predicting a champ? Are you predicting a championship?
from what I have seen, if they continue to play and
Mm.
not play down to their competition, that cost them some couple losses. Because when they show up against big teams, they take care of them.
Mm.
They take care of them. I
Yeah.
UCLA is another team you got to watch out for too. They good.
Mhm.
I I would love to see how that would turn out Notre Dame and USC. I really don't see. I mean, South Carolina, so you can't count them out. But I don't see UConn going to the championship. I
Oh
don't. I
no,
think
no.
they
And I'm not
no,
saying that just because
yeah,
I don't care, but I
um,
mean that I don't care for them. But
yeah. I don't see USC either. They just don't have enough. Kiki, whatever her name is, she doesn't play aggressive enough for me. She should have stayed at Stanford. You should just transfer somewhere where she could really use her her body a lot. She
mhm,
just she just seems out of sorts over there playing with Juju.
mhm.
But that girl, the young lady Strong, it's like she took over
Yeah,
UConn like
Sarah
it's her
Strong.
team. Sarah Strong, yeah, she don't took over UConn like it's her team.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
but I don't see them win it all. I think Notre Dame has a recipe when they other players come back. UCLA, I think South Carolina, they're probably going to. It's one of them two, one of them three going to play one of each other in a championship. That's why I put it.
Who say it again? It's going to be who?
So I pick. It's Notre Dame. I know I'm picking them to be in the finals.
Yeah,
completely. It's going to come down to UCLA and South Carolina to play them in the finals. It's going to be one of those two.
Mm-hmm.
So, because UCLA is really good, and they really good over there. I think they undefeated. I'm not mistaken. So they really good in the Big Ten. So
well, I haven't heard an update on Juju's ankle, so I don't know.
I haven't either. Yeah, that you up 50 points, you should not be in the game. And people trying to say, well, they kept Caitlyn in the game. I was like, it's not the same. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't constantly compare that. You up 50 points. There's no way you should be in the game.
Yeah. I don't think that yeah, that's what we're talking about right now. April. Yeah, I don't know Caitlyn or anybody else. I don't see why at that with 5. I mean, if you're up 50 in the game and it's the second quarter, you're not going to sit there the rest of the game. But this is fourth quarter with 5 minutes left when she got hurt. And the score was 27-81. Why is she in the game? Now, mind you, you can get hurt at any time. I said when they said at the last game of the season when the Fever played Washington, I said that they said, well, they shouldn't play Caitlyn and Kelsey and all. And I didn't agree with that. Because I felt like they were just trying to get they weren't at the point where they need to just kind of chill, right? And I wanted to see them get 20 to 21 wins. But in any case, this is fourth quarter. This is a garbage. Sorry, I don't want to say it like that. I was gonna say garbage team, but this is, this was a team that it's not like they're gonna come back and beat you.
Yeah.
And so yeah, she shouldn't have been in the game. That's a shame.
Yeah.
And then going for that rebound like she did, because she was going up for the rebound, came down on. Yeah. So,
but she got a big game coming this week, so we'll see if she's gonna be available for it.
Yeah. Hopefully, sometimes it's the initial, and you wrap that thing up and you just go. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I don't think she gonna miss this game. I think she really want to play. She really want to play this game because Paige did get the best of her last year, so she got redemption. She need to redeem herself.
Yeah. So. If she can go, she'll go.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where you just go, oh man, like that. If I could just have that moment back, and she didn't need to be out there, but anyway, yeah. So.
Well, everyone. Thank y'all for coming in. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. Enjoy y'all comments, y'all talks and everything. And it's really, 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 really enlightening to get to have some great conversation going on. Like I say, Adrienne, you have my information. Anytime you need me, we get together and do something, I'm almost open. I'm open for 30 days now. So.
Wow, 30 days is a long time. Well, somebody said go Lady Vols. All right, Greg, I had to see that. That caught my attention. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for the invitation. We covered a plethora of topics, and that's a lot of fun. And I appreciate everybody who are with us, whether on your channel or my channel or wherever. There's a mix. I've never done it like this before, so I don't know how it goes, but it's cool.
So this is the first time that we had a collaboration show because most of y'all are from Adrienne Ross channel and LiveWire channel is in the mix as well. So if you haven't, I always put the banner up so for y'all to to understand how to find me or whatever the case might be. But this is something that's it's beneficial for both channels. Instead of having one person on each other channel, we could do a collaboration channel and bring everybody together like that. So it's very, very, very good and beneficial. So I like it. I really enjoy it like that.
Yeah, thank you for allowing that. Appreciate that.
No problem at all.
One second, April. I need to see yesterday's video. I said earlier on that we ended up getting together, but we decided not to put it out public. So this is not this is not with Rudy. This is Mr. LiveWire Sports Media himself. And he allowed me to also put this on my channel. But the collaboration with the group of people, we did talk for like 3 hours, but we just decided to keep it in-house. So,
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, subscribe to LiveWire. Somebody put out. That's good.
So, well, if y'all need a link, I could always drop it back into the comment section again. But nevertheless, again, Adrienne, thank you again for lending me your time.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your insight. You always bring great insight that I could feed off of. So I love that. It gives me more thinking aspect, how to look at things a little bit differently versus, because we always can have our own view, but having somebody else insight is always beneficial.
Yeah, that's good. Same thing. We need more of that. We need more people who are willing, even if we disagree, like this is what we're trying to say. Not everyone's going to agree on everything.
Exactly.
But can you talk about it respectfully? And at times you'll agree, at times you'll disagree. You'll have to agree to disagree.
Somebody said where I'm at. So let me see if how can I do this real quick?
Yeah, so you have some people saying here they're gonna check out your channel.
Yeah, I need to find a way to put the link in it.
God bless you too, David. Thank you. Yes, April, it is. It's live on both. It's on his channel, and he is streaming it to my channel graciously as well.
If y'all just look at the ticker real quick, and do it like that, it'll pop up my channel at LiveWire Sports Media. So if you look at that ticker real quick and just like that, so that's how I don't know how to put it inside the thing. I do, but it's gonna take me a minute. So
No,
I just always.
I'm laughing at Mitch. I'm laughing at Mitch. You said LiveWire and Adrienne are stat padding now. That was good, man. That was so good.
I like that. Yeah, I'm stat padding. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm
stat padding, right? So
yeah. But that's funny. But all in all, again, Adrienne, like I say, I'm available anytime you need me. We always work out the schedule, so it's no big thing.
Yes. Sounds good, brother. Sounds good. God bless you abundantly.
All right. God bless you too. Until the next time.
All right.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? LiveWire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is LiveWire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.